You've heard the whispers, right? This legend of a city that just vanished in a single night, a lost civilization supposedly so advanced, so powerful that its memory literally haunts us. I'm talking, of course, about Atlantis. And man, it feels like it is everywhere these days. I mean, just picture it. It's this incredible story, and it's all over the internet. You've got podcasts looking at these bizarre geological formations, YouTube videos claiming to have found it on old maps. The whole legend just feels more alive than ever. So what is really going on here? Was Atlantis a real place, a scary bedtime story, or something else entirely? Well, in this explainer, we're going to try to decode this myth, put it up against the actual science, and see if we can get to the bottom of one of history's greatest mysteries. To really understand Atlantis, you have to go back, way back, to the very beginning, to the one single source that gave us this entire story, the ancient Greek philosopher Plato. And you're not going to believe this, but this whole massive, global obsession, it all comes from just two of Plato's writings, Timaeus and Critias. We're talking 2,400 years ago. He describes this massive island empire way out in the Atlantic, beyond what we today call the Strait of Gibraltar. And the level of detail Plato gives is just stunning. He talks about this incredible feat of engineering, a city built in these perfect circles of land and water. But, this is also a story with a lesson. The people of Atlantis, they get greedy, they get arrogant, and bam, the gods punish them, and their entire magnificent island is swallowed by the ocean in just one day and one night. So here's the thing that most historians and scholars will tell you. This was almost certainly an allegory. Plato wasn't writing a history book. He was using the story of Atlantis as a kind of cautionary tale, a story about pride, about what happens when a perfect society totally loses its way. But here's where it gets complicated. Even if Plato's story was just that, a story, modern science has started to find evidence of real, forgotten worlds and ancient cataclysms that, honestly, make the core of the myth seem surprisingly plausible. This is where your mind kind of gets blown. Just look at these dates. We think of the pyramids as ancient, right? But Göbekli Tepe is more than twice as old as the pyramids. And before that, you have the younger Dryas, a time of just insane, catastrophic climate change. This timeline proves complex civilization is way, way older than we ever thought.
Yeah, this place, Göbekli Tepe, it's a total game changer. It proves that people we used to think of as simple hunter-gatherers were capable of building massive, monumental architecture. This is long before we thought they had farming or cities or anything like that.
Okay, now let's add another huge piece to the puzzle.
At the end of the last ice age, the glaciers melted and global sea levels rose by around 120 meters. To put that in perspective, that is nearly 400 feet of water, more than the height of a football field stood upright.
That process literally drowned huge areas of ancient coastlines, bearing whatever and whoever was living there.
So, let's be super clear here. None of this is proof of Atlantis itself, but what it does is provide the scientific fuel that keeps this story alive. It proves that the basic ingredients of the myth, an advanced ancient culture wiped out by a natural disaster, that's not just fantasy, it's real. It has happened.
So with this scientific backdrop, it's no wonder that people have started looking for a real Atlantis. And boy, have they pointed to some really strange and fascinating places around the globe.
Two of the most famous ones you'll definitely see online are the Richat structure, also known as the Eye of the Sahara, and the Yonaguni Monument, which is this underwater formation off the coast of Japan. And you know what? You can kind of see why. They look mysterious, they look weird, and they look, well, a little bit man-made.
But okay, let's take a closer look at the Eye of the Sahara. The people who believe it's Atlantis point to those concentric circles. But geologists have studied this place inside and out. It's not a city. It's a natural eroded geologic dome that's been shaped by wind and water for millions of years, and the rocks here date to roughly 100 million years ago, definitely not 11th 600. The facts they don't match up.
And that's the pattern you see over and over again. These incredible natural places get linked to Atlantis because they look a little bit like Plato's story. It's a visual rhyme. It's not because there's any actual evidence. No tools, no pottery, no writing, nothing. It's a connection that's really driven by our hope for the story to be true, not by archaeology.
So, if these places aren't Atlantis, and Plato probably just made the whole thing up as a moral lesson, where does that leave us? Why are we, thousands of years later, still so completely obsessed with this lost city?
Let's just be blunt for a second. The scientific consensus is crystal clear. Historians, archaeologists, geologists, they all overwhelmingly agree that Atlantis, the specific city Plato described, is a work of fiction. Period. After all this time searching, no confirmed ruins have ever been found.
But, and this is a huge but, that's not the end of it. Because what the science does tell us is that our deep past was full of real trauma. There were rising seas, there were catastrophic floods. The knowledge that entire worlds could be lost forever beneath the waves, that was a very, very real memory for ancient peoples.
And maybe that's the real power of this legend. Atlantis has become the name we give to all the missing pieces of our own past. It's the one epic story that lets us connect all these scattered dots. A flooded coastline over here, a mysteriously ancient temple over there. It's the name we give to our collective amnesia.
So in the end, maybe the search for Atlantis was never really about finding a physical place on a map. Maybe its true value is what it shows us about ourselves, our deep fear of collapse, our hope that maybe, just maybe, we were once greater than we are, and our absolute fascination with the great, undiscovered mysteries of our own story.
Thanks for watching. Reality X Decoded isn't official teaching. We simply explore and aim to stay as accurate as possible. If anything seems off or you have questions, comment below and let us know what to decode next. Don't forget to subscribe.